All right, you guys have your assignments. I'm Kate,
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hannah.
and this is Feast.
Sheath.
And Shatter.
Is it hot in here, or is it just me tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety? Not your average book club, if you know what I mean. Are you happy to see us? Or is that a dagger? It's Feast, Sheath, Shatter. It's Feast, Sheath, Shatter.
Let me pull my notes up.
Yeah.
I did my homework and everything, and I read all the bonus chapters.
Yeah.
I really wanted to, but every time we do this on a Friday, it's like that day at work is insane.
Yeah, which is okay. Hannah, what book are we talking about?
Oh, I was going by that, which says the spoiler warning should come first. So
Go for it, Rachel.
There might be spoilers. There's definitely going to be spoilers for literally anything Sarah J. Maas has ever written
or thought about.
or thought about.
Or interviewed.
Yeah.
Nothing is untouchable at this point.
Yeah,
This is
so-
the 16th book. We've read every single one of them
If you have not.
and covered them on the podcast.
beware.
So,
Yeah.
unfortunately, if you've never read any of the other series, we would love for you to come back. This is not for you. You can go.
I do have a friend that just listens to these. She does not read the books.
Well, that's okay.
yeah.
I do.
Is that Meg?
No.
Oh,
My other friend. Other
Oh.
Rachel.
okay.
other Rachel?
Yeah.
Other Rachel.
Welcome back, friends and alpha holes. Today we are talking about the much anticipated 16th edition in the Maasverse, House of Flame and Shadow.
Yay.
This is the third Crescent City book.
So let's start off by sharing a little bit about me and Rachel's experience going to the midnight release.
Yes.
I had so much
That
fun.
was so much fun.
It was
to
so
hear.
much fun. And they did something that I don't even think they realized, which was had us paint masks. They had no clue how relevant that was going to be to the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That's
think they
true.
were just like, oh, we'll just paint masks because they had a mask, right?
Yeah.
Not realizing that that's the actual magical object that
Yeah.
becomes like a main character in the story.
Yeah. My favorite part for sure was Kate kept talking about me, like pointing at me and saying them because she was talking about you and me.
Oh,
They, them, and then I bought lesbian necromancers in space and non-binary monks. Like, so I bought all the
Yay.
representative books in that they had on the shelf, and I was they them all night. So
that's awesome. So you got to experience a new
I bet
persona.
you know what? I bet they felt like good. We had diversity.
Yes.
Yeah. Unintentionally,
I'll
too.
be the
If that
unintentional
was your
diversity.
actual pronoun, I would have struggled my ass off
Yeah,
because
yeah.
unfortunately, it's no matter how hard I try, sometimes I'm just not. But I'm glad. I'm so grateful. That's what happened.
I'm glad I
had
was
such-
there in spirit.
I
If
had-
you
you
kept
were.
pointing at her and saying,
Yeah,
"They."
them.
yeah.
You know, we, them. I
Yeah.
kept talking. I had so much fun. The lady that put it together, she was so funny. It was a good time.
It was.
I think I did step into the like leadership role a little bit.
You work a room. You
I
know
do
that,
know.
right? You work a room.
It's
I
that
do.
So you
Libra
sat down
rising.
and you were like, okay, who wants to talk about their theories?
I do.
It was good. It got everybody talking and it
Yeah.
brought everybody together.
I know.
so.
It's like the camp counselor leadership. I'm like the camp counselor of
Yes.
the room. Yeah, I do know. I guess that's a nice way to say that. Thank
Yeah,
you.
You're welcome.
I do know how to work out. I know how to work out. Psyched. How to work a room. Yeah,
Work
but
a
we had
room.
such a good time. Lots of really fun people to talk to. We met some really nice people. I had a good time. I would totally do that again.
Yeah.
We got our book immediately at midnight and went home. And
Cool.
I really overestimated my ability as a 40-year-old woman to stay up all night. I read for 30 minutes and was like, good night. Yeah, and then woke up. And it took me a couple days to read, but I cleared it in about 2 days. And you saved it for the
For
cruise.
the cruise. Yeah.
It took me about a week.
Yeah, because you have to work and mother.
That pesky job really gets in the way.
If we could
had
just
to
get
work,
enough
too.
people to join the Patreon, we could do this full time and we could put out more episodes.
But we don't have anything about us, our podcast on the Patreon.
Well, that's because Rachel doesn't have time either.
I know.
And
Well, I
am
was
the
thinking about doing an
one-stop
Instagram.
shop.
So something that's really funny, I sent you guys the analytics for our TikToks today.
Yeah.
And 58% is between the ages of 24 and 34. And I was like, ooh. Ooh.
Maybe
Some
they like
youngins.
hearing older women talk about things.
Yeah.
Do they?
I
Or
don't
do you
know.
think? I don't know. Maybe.
I like hanging out with older people. I've always enjoyed that.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because
Well-
then it's not an echo chamber of sameness.
Yeah,
You get a different
that's true.
perspective.
That's
Yeah.
true. Well, and I do find myself getting like, I don't know. Sometimes the TikTok can get. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to name before we get into this, we are not a fan cast. People in this room have very different opinions of this book. And so, if you're looking for a pod, what we are going to do well is have a very diverse conversation from people who like it, don't like it. I don't know if any of us think it's perfect. So if you're looking for something that praises it to the highest, I'm not sure that's going to be us. So
I'm positive that's not going to be us.
So yeah. So just we want to say that before you get. We are going to talk about what this book did well. We're going to talk about what Rachel thinks.
Rachel's gonna rage.
Rachel's gonna rage.
have
Hannah's gonna
notes.
Hannah. I'm gonna Kate. I'm gonna Hannah and Rachel.
Yeah.
So
good.
just a heads up.
Our usual, the usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start off with. I initially asked for our homework assignment. Give me 5 words that described your experience of this book, and then I changed it to 7 because 7 is the number of the gods in the Maas verse. So,
Yeah.
Rachel, let's start with you. What are your 7 words?
Okay, ready? No. Confused, frustrated, annoyed, disappointed, bored, and underwhelmed.
Okay, Hannah.
Mine was what in the actual
We can cuss.
fucking hell, man.
Okay, and mine was hilarious, surprising, satisfying, emotional, a little gaslighty, buddy romance, and confounding.
It was
So
a little
I-
gaslighty.
It was a
was
little
a little
gaslighty. There were some
gaslighty.
moments. I loved this book. I absolutely loved this book. This book did everything I expected it to do. I think Sarah J. Maas did some Sarah J. Maas shit.
Yeah.
I think this book was a lot more like Wings and Ruin than it was Kingdom of Ash. And I think
Yeah.
people expected a Kingdom of Ash, incredible,
Wrap up.
perfect wrap up, this kind of thing. This felt like she took a couple steps back in some ways. But as a person who loves this universe my love is not fickle. My
We
love
know.
is not fickle.
Yeah.
And I truly enjoyed this book. I cried where I was supposed to cry. There were chapters I wanted to skip. There were points of view I needed to skip over because I just wanted to read about this other point of view.
Yeah.
There were things that I didn't know I needed that were the best things that I've ever read, ever. But I loved it.
Well,
So,
good. I am glad you enjoyed it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that's a surprise considering going into it.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
I would feel sad if you felt disappointed.
See, I feel sad. I feel very sad
Yeah.
at how I feel because I was really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
And I was really looking forward to feeling the way Kate does.
Yeah.
And I just don't. And I'm so mad. I'm really mad and sad. But I mean, I did enjoy it. Will I read it again? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I will read it multiple times.
I think
I've already
this is
read
a
it
book
twice.
you
I've read
wait-
it twice. Everyone should know that.
I think this is a book you wait till the 4th one comes out and then you read it because it's just a bridge.
Yeah.
So you can remember how you got here.
Yeah, it's
If you
not
can
like,
remember how you got here.
like Crescent, like the first book.
the first book was,
I would read for no reason other than I just
and
want to pick up a book.
and the first book was so concise and perfect.
Yeah, this was a step back in quality in terms of
in terms
all of it.
of like fluidity.
yeah.
No fluidity.
Right.
Very
It
choppy.
It did a lot of things. The thing that Rachel said when we were reading Throne of Glass, one of the things that you would point out pretty frequently is how often she would write herself into a corner and she had to you could tell that she was making something, she was writing something because she had to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because you brought it to my attention, but I noticed her doing that a lot more in this.
Yeah, she took over the reins a lot.
And one of the feelings that I got was that, oh, this feels like it's her job,
Yeah.
not that she loves it.
Yes.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It felt like she had to meet a minimum word requirement.
She gave herself too many characters, is what it is.
Or she had this idea that, like, I have to wrap this up, so I'm going to make sure that it's, like, wrapped up.
I just don't feel like her heart was in it.
I mean, I don't know. There were parts of it that I love and will
There were
keep with
parts
me.
that I loved, and I cried.
I just
you know?
think she's a different person and a different writer now. And I think this is part of an evolution with her. And it's a middle book, like you said.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the grand scheme of things, you know, if a couple more books come out and miss as many marks as this one did, we might need to say there's an issue.
Yeah.
But I didn't like Wings of Ruin that much.
This felt like she put Crown of Midnight, Kingdom of Ash, and Wings and Ruin in a blender and just pulled out events and then rewrote them.
Like what?
So that's the whole feeling I got from the end was it felt kind of like the end of Wings of Ruin, but like she was trying to make it like the end of Kingdom of Ash, where in Wings and Ruin, the ending is just so choppy because it's like, oh, hey, I have this secret. It's going to help us win the battle. Oh, babe, I have a secret too. It's going to help us win the battle. And then they remember we talked about how she put the big evil bad guys that they'd collected. They didn't talk about it ahead of time. They just threw it out there. And then everyone who comes in, it's like, surprise, here's a backup. Like, here's surprise. We're certain doom. Here comes the people that are going to save us. And it was like, that was frustrating to me in Wings and Ruin. And I saw her doing that again in this one.
Yeah.
And yet she was trying for like Kingdom of Ash scope, where it's like, we are saving the actual world. We're not just, I mean, in Wings and Ruin, they kind of are, but it's really just this battlefield. It's not like.
There's just Prithian.
It's
They're
just
just
Prithian.
defeating Hybern.
Right.
There's an entire other continent. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. I can see that.
There was, and the Crown of
I
Midnight
didn't
was
Go
the,
ahead.
oh, sorry.
Oh, you go.
The Crown of Midnight was every time someone was like, they put their curiosity aside. I put my curiosity aside. I just didn't think about it right now. Like, Ethan said that literally, I think 4 times.
Okay, well, let's start off. Let's talk about the way that she decided to structure the book, okay? So
Yeah,
our first
okay.
2 books, we're working through the layers of hell. In this book, we're doing the stages of the drop. So we've got the drop, the search, and the ascent.
Yeah.
Okay, so the drop. I'm not going to lie. If you take out the Ethan and Therian chapters of the first part, it is excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan was not good in this book.
And Ethan, and you will see, I have not come across people just, I don't know why she thought that the rumination and the like constant stubborn, like you want to talk about stubborn to the point of stupidity.
Yeah.
I mean, someone I saw someone say like it actually is what a 20-year-old dude,
Yeah.
a sunball player.
Yeah.
I'm a sunball captain wearing
Yeah.
my sunball
my
hat,
sunball
We could not let that
and
go.
I am sunballing my way through this emotional decision.
yes.
I'm gonna jump out of this boat and go back and save
poor
the wolf I've known
Hypaxia.
for 2 weeks, Sigrid, because
Yeah.
she's the only option.
Right. And poor Hypaxia went from a character to Ethan's MacGuffin.
Oh,
That's all she was.
I don't know that term. Can you tell
So
me what that
MacGuffin
means?
is when usually it's an object. So like a item, like, oh no, I've found the unfinished tales and I have to figure out who wrote them. So this drives the plot. Me going to figure that out.
Yeah,
kickstarts the
she's
plot.
a plot tool in this.
So all she is like, I need a necromancer. And she's like, what? And she pops out of the woodwork. And then
Well-
they don't need her. And she just sinks back into the darkness.
Hypaxia is such an interesting character.
And
Because
so
she-
they did her dirty.
They did
well,
do her dirty.
I think, so we are going to get another book.
Yes.
And so I like to think that, this is like a middle book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a lot of hope.
But she never shows up until the 3rd act in every book. Like Hypaxia is never in the first.
Yeah.
So I think that's such an interesting way for
And everything happens to her off page. Like, surprise y'all, I got overthrown and
She
I'm not
got
queen anymore.
overthrown.
That's
by
because she
all the
didn't have enough
witches.
time to come
Yeah.
and be their necromancer. They needed to get rid of her side jobs. They were like,
well, and we kind of saw that coming. But yeah. But
Yeah.
the best parts. Let me talk around the best parts, and then
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that will for me, and that
No,
will
yeah, go
allow
ahead,
y'all
Kate.
to really pull in. So the part one, I'm not gonna lie, Nesta Archeron stole the show.
Loved it.
Every single thing that made me so happy I wanted to cry had to do with Nesta, and the thing that I didn't know I needed was Nesta and Ember. That relationship. Did you read that?
I read that.
That I really hate she took that out.
yeah.
But so when we first see Rhysand and Amren, we get that in the prologue, and the first chapter, which this point I'm like, was that even in the book? Because we read it so long
Oh,
ago.
wow. Yeah. I forgot about that.
But I found myself when I did hold on, let me calm down. I think the Celsius just hit. When I read this through the second time, I just literally skipped Ethan and all through the first part.
Yeah.
I did do some of Lydia's chapters, and a little bit of Hunt and Rune and Baxian's. But the Nesta and the Azrael adventures with Bryce was so fun to read. To watch Bryce's personality interact with Nesta, to get to see Nesta through Bryce's eyes when there are so many fucking Nesta haters out there.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who is one, and she just finished, and she's like, I fucking hate Nesta. She ruined this series for me. And I was like, she also defended Tamlin. And I was like, I think you need to unpack some shit, girl.
Wow.
What is that? You're defending Tamlin and you fucking hate Nesta? Why do
Yeah.
you hate women?
Here's the number to my therapist.
yeah, like unpack that misogyny, my friend.
Yeah.
What is it? Why are you so hard on her?
Yeah.
Because she said some mean things to her sister? Anyways. I get why people think Nesta's cruel.
Well, she went through a hard spot.
Yeah, and some people aren't. Some people don't forgive, and some people hate bitchy women. Some people don't let women have.
Feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah. Emotional journeys.
Right.
right. And it's
3 dimensions.
It's about intentions. Like Nesta's intentions were always horrible. I beg to differ. Like I don't think that's so.
I don't know where you would get that from.
Yeah, I disagree as well. But so we get, Bryce figures out she lies. I guess the first thing we really need to talk about the magic bean, which we did talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
Not being able to have a cesarean section, but having
A
the
magic
magic bean,
bean. Yeah.
that is an instant language translator,
Correct.
doesn't feel
Proportional.
correct.
Yes.
So we've got this instant fix.
We'll just
We have
put
to
that,
kind
just
of wink
put
at
on-
that.
Just put
Just-
that on the table.
Just throw it on the
gonna-
table.
just throw
Now,
it right
don't get me
there.
wrong. I love it. I hate miscommunication. I'm glad she thought of something.
Yeah.
If it's a tiny little Tiffany bracelet bean, I'm good with it, right? Because I don't want there to be miscommunication because
Right.
I hate that trope.
Yeah, it just eliminates that barrier immediately.
Yeah, immediately.
So that she can have her overnight stay in Prithian.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Slumber
her
party.
going through the caves, working with Nesta, them subtly getting to know each other. If you read the chapter, the extra chapter,
She should not have taken that out.
no, she shouldn't
She should
have.
not have
So
fucking
good.
taken that out.
Because everybody needed to read that
That
for
is-
the context
Yes.
of what happens.
Otherwise, it's just them being mad at each other. The whole, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Well, I'm gonna kill
Yeah.
you before you kill me. I'm gonna
Yeah.
kill you before you. Kill
Otherwise,
me.
you don't have no idea why would Nesta give the mask to Bryce.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Unless you had those
That
bonus-
context.
Yeah.
Right.
I know, I agree. I think that she wrote those in the book and then we're like, what chapter is isolated enough that we could take out? I think that context for that chapter is so important that
Yeah.
it makes me sad that it was taken out.
Yeah, it cheapens the book.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
that is
think
a-
it.
I would not have hated that section as much if I'd had that little.
If you had seen that tiny glimpse of them connecting,
yeah,
where you knew that Nesta and Azrael still had to do their jobs, but they liked the fucking club rap music.
yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
Boo-doo, I can't get it. Yeah. Like as singing Stone Maiden under his breath, us getting more dialogue from Azrael than we have the entire ACOTAR series.
Yeah.
Us knowing that ACOTAR's books are headed that direction. I mean, this is the novella that transitions us.
Right.
And so for it to have been taken out for marketing, I mean, I just think it was so essential to the enjoyment of the book.
Yeah.
Because I didn't read any of those. So when she goes back to Nesta, I mean, like, it's really just like, Bryce, why would you go back? They hate you.
They hate you, and you left them to die.
I had no idea
left
that you
them
and
to
Nesta
die.
connected. You
Yeah.
know, Nesta
Yeah.
literally says to her, like, they are vibing.
Yeah.
And Nesta says, you know, I would have loved to be your friend. Like, if we weren't your captors, I would love to be your friend.
Which we called in the first Crescent City book.
Oh
We're
my
like,
God.
She and Nesta would get along
so well. The moment that we saw that trailer, the little spoiler come out that said that Nesta and, you know, that Bryce was like running away and then she ran back towards Nesta hoping they were still alive.
Yeah.
I knew. I was like, Nesta and Bryce are going to be
BFFs.
best fucking friends.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, Valkyries mythologically ride Pegasuses.
Yeah.
So I always knew they're going to have their horsies.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce is going to bring the horsies back somehow.
Jelly Jubilees.
Jelly Jubilees.
Well, she killed the Asteries, so yeah. Now there's no evil underneath the mountain.
Yeah. Well, and then, yeah, and that whole part going. Well,
I
it
was
was
being serious. That's what she did in Avalon or Avalon or whatever.
Avalon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Avalon, which is definitely what it is. The land behind the mists.
Like the Toyota?
No,
Like King Arthur.
like King
Oh,
Arthur and the
Avalon.
Yeah, but he
Avalon.
goes to Avalon.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when she's in Prithian, that whole little thing. Hold on, sorry, my thing keeps turning off. Where they make their way to under the prison to a place we've already been. So the caves, they're in the caves for so long.
I'm letting you go first.
And then the Midgard worm shows up. And
Yeah.
Bryce is using her, I'm an art historian skill set, her degree. She's using her degree at
Right.
the end.
She's like, these appear to be carvings.
Yeah, and
of,
she's
stuff.
she's really great at translating,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
She's like, oh, Celine, this is a beautiful, what do these three people running together mean? She's doing a great job. And
Yeah.
Nesta and Azra are like, yeah, man, yeah, if we had museums, you could come run them. You'd be a great curator of art for us.
Yes.
And then they get to they fight the Midgard worm. I mean, Nesta pulling out the mask.
I would like to point that Feyre defeated the Midgard worm with a sharpened stick. And that
Several sharpened sticks.
They needed the mask and Azrael and her magic and the magic sword.
Farrah did it.
Just
Yeah.
wanted to point that
But,
out.
okay, but that Midgard worm was a caged animal.
Oh, okay.
That was not
Yeah,
a
he was in
free range.
captivity.
That
Right.
wasn't a
Yeah.
free range.
Oh,
Agreed.
okay.
Let to roll Dune
Sure.
Dune spice monster.
It was so Bryce would know about the mask. But
It
it's
was-
fine.
Yeah,
It's
it was
fine.
so Bryce
It's
could
fine.
know.
And
I love
also
how
so they could be in a wormhole.
Well, I love
Yeah.
how they were like
Wormholes, which we see more than
Wormholes.
once. Yeah.
I love how they were like, oh, look at the big dead skeleton thing. That must have been a big animal. And they're like, yeah, good thing he's not alive. And then the Midgard worm came up and she pulls out the mask. And I was like, oh, well, that's why we have the big dead animal
Well,
that we didn't know what it was.
I don't care. I don't give a shit what you say, Rachel. I absolutely adored seeing Nesta's powers, where
Yes,
she's
I
at,
was
where
glad
she's
she got to do a lot. Like
she's
she
come
disarms
so
the traps.
far.
And
Yeah, she's
yeah.
come so far. And I don't think I realized in Silver Flame that her sword lit up with silver flames for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that. I just thought they were in her eyes.
Mm.
I didn't remember that. So seeing her use her sword and just absolutely demolish them. I mean, Nesta out warriors Azrael almost.
Yeah.
And then Azrael always being with them in the shadows, though, I was a little disappointed in Bryce not picking that up faster.
Yeah. She has a brother who could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like that's something that's never occurred to her before.
Yeah. And she keeps hearing sounds and seeing the shadows and being
She
like,
just set her curiosity aside.
but how She did. She wasn't. She was too busy. But how about Azriel and Nesta's chemistry and like friendship?
I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
It really was. A lot of people were really upset with how little
See, I don't
crossover we
understand
got.
why, because that's exactly the amount that I expected to have.
We can't have any more.
Yeah, and that's exactly the amount that we needed.
Well, and I think that people, you spend 2 years of people whose entire personality is the theories for this stuff, who understand if it had made assumptions about the lore in these worlds, almost more so than Sarah, Janet. And they just, you can only make theories with what you know, and she gets to make up whatever she wants.
Right.
Which is why I do like theories to an extent, but also you can't carry them with you. They can't mean so much to you.
Right.
But a lot of people were really pissed off because she gave an interview where she said, it's a huge crossover, blah, blah, blah. I saw this one TikToker who was so mad. She was so angry. And she was like fighting everybody in her comments. And then I saw the little Leo sign and I was like, oh, girl, I see you. Oh, a Leo. I see.
Okay.
You mad.
You
You
mad?
was so mad. No one's going to.
You Leo mad.
You're so Leo mad right now. Yeah. And I was just like, I just knew. I know better. Too many fandoms.
Well, she can't have more, and she can't have more characters because at this point, she can write a book that just doesn't have Nesta and Azriel in it for a little while, and it's fine. And if you're just someone who's only reading ACOTAR, you don't have to stop, read all 3 Crescent City books to catch up, to fill in that gap, and then read the next ACOTAR book. She'd end up in a Marvel situation where it was like,
You have to watch all 22
where you have to watch all
understand.
22 to get it. And so new people don't come in because it's too intimidating.
Well, and this universe is already doing that by saying, there isn't a Maas fan out there that's not going to say, you need to read Throne of Glass and ACOTAR before you read Crescent City.
Yeah.
Now, I don't necessarily think you need Throne of Glass. But if you want to pick up on every single little Easter egg and hint, then yeah. If you want to catch the drop, the Book of Breathings and the Walking Dead book in the first Crescent City, yeah, you needed to read 8 books.
Right.
Yeah.
But only if you want all the Easter eggs.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's true. And I've also heard that the ACOTAR 6 or 5, they're calling, people go back and forth, it's going to kind of overlap this anyways, which I would love to see a scene where Azriel has to go back to Cassian and Rhys and tell them, she got away.
She took my knife.
She took my knife.
And she just left.
And she left. And Rhys, you could look into my mind because this old crazy Fae lady that I think's your great grandma, she gave us about 40 pages worth of PowerPoint presentation.
Oh my God, it was so long.
It was so long. I loved it. I know you were like, I mean, it does
was
seem like a
fine.
little
It was-
cheap way of making something happen.
was-
But for me, I was like, please, can I have some more exposition? I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, we need to know that stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, I
was
loved it so
fine. I
much.
just don't know why Sarah J. Maas's characters always hate their ancestors. Like, would you calm down for 5 fucking minutes?
Okay.
She's like flipping off the star. She's like, boo fucking who? Like, oh my God, would you stop? Like, she's dead. She's dead. And I get it. You don't like what she did. That's fine. She spent a lot of time trying to atone for it. It wasn't great. She didn't have a perfect way to get back from where she got to, but she tried. And yet she's just like, no, she didn't. I fucking hate her.
She was a terrible person.
And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. You can't both give me a character that I'm supposed to hate. Oh, then now I like them. Like Nesta has this journey where I didn't like her for a long time. And then she gets Silver Flames and she gets this great arc where she's like, well, I don't love where I am and I got to figure out how to get to where I want to be. And we love that. I love that. And then Celine, she's like, well, no, who gives a fucking shit? She left those people to die.
I just don't understand. I do not understand what Sarah was thinking writing Bryce for this book. what was it on purpose? I mean, she had so little depth. We see such growth in Bryce in the first 2 books. She does such a good job of being a better person and trying to do this and trying to be understanding. And in this one, she's just like a brat.
Well, I have noticed that, okay, so this book only took place over a week, and
Yeah.
that's kind of unheard of
That's
in her books.
Yeah, that's true.
That is so
Some
unheard of.
she
And
could
what
have
I've noticed about
been on her
Bryce is
cycle.
she's only, correct. No, I wasn't going to say that, but I was going to say she's only ever soft-hearted in small, quiet moments. When she's trying to make decisions and she's gung-ho and
we
she's
didn't
moving
have any.
forward, when she's moving forward, she's just
Like a
just like
bulldozer.
Aelin, right?
Yeah.
I have to make decisions that are really important really quickly. I'm always thinking a couple steps ahead, and I don't have time for you. And I genuinely think that in the situation that she was in with Azriel and Nesta, like Bryce was looking out for herself,
Yeah.
and we love those characters, but she doesn't know them. So to me, it kind of made sense. Like, I'm gonna steal this and I'm gonna go.
No,
'Cause
that was fine.
Yeah,
I was fine with that.
it was the gaslighting with Hunt that was a little bit hard.
Yes.
It was the throwing her parents into another realm
But if we
without
had
their permission.
known that she had bonded with Nesta and really,
That's-
when I read that
No.
chapter in its right place, that made sense to me. Imagine if you had to go make the hardest decision of your whole life.
Then they should have brought the boy too.
Yeah. But the boy was with Fury and Baxian.
I don't care. You're gonna separate that. They're an adopted family now. So if you're really gonna do this, like to keep your parents safe, and you're willing to be a total jerk in order to do it, then you should have brought the boy too.
Yeah. And I think she just realized, like, it's a hard decision that I have to make sure that this isn't an issue. You know?
I was livid.
You can't make perfect decisions in places like that. So I'm a little bit more forgiving of it, but I completely understand where you're coming from. Because when I read that part without the extra chapter, I didn't understand it either. I was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just trade your parents? Did you
Yes.
just push? But when you go back and you go, oh, you and Nesta have this like unspoken bond where you know that Nesta is going to respect and appreciate this because Nesta saw how much you love your mother.
That wasn't the issue for me. It wasn't about her knowing whether
was
they're
about
not to be
separating them
safe.
from
It was about
Cooper?
telling
Is that
your
it?
parents,
Yeah. She
giving
could have
them a
just
heads
said-
up.
Yeah.
You
Well,
could have explained to Randall. You could have told him what you were going to do beforehand.
Yeah, she couldn't
It's
have
high-handed.
She couldn't have told.
It's high-handed and arrogant and
Yeah.
alienish, and it pissed me off.
yeah,
That's
makes
valid.
sense. Super valid. I was pissed before I read the other chapter, and then when I read the chapter with Ember and Randall and Rhysand, I was like, "This is the best part of this fucking book."
Does Sarah J. Maas have kids?
Yeah, two.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
she has two. Yeah. 2 kids and a dog and a husband that she's known since high school, bro. I didn't know that. She writes.
college,
Really? She said it's the only guy she's ever been with.
freshman year of college.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she likes the mates.
Her
She got a
only-
faded mate.
Yeah, she got
She
a
got a faded mate. She
like
got a
she
faded mate.
saw him and knew.
Yeah, and he kind of looks like Rhysand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Kate, continue.
Well,
We distracted you.
no, that's okay. We just tangented. That's what we do.
Probably going to do it again.
A lot.
Will.
So we'll talk about. So we get to the PowerPoint. You know, grab your vis-a-vis,
Oh, yes.
get out your mouse clicker, get your laser pointer
no,
out.
it was a full
It's
video
a straight
presentation.
up video.
It was like when
no,
you go,
it's like in Superman when Kal-El.
yes.
You know, he has his. She doesn't know superheroes, but you'll get this.
Yeah.
You know, he's got his like cyber crystal
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
den,
Or
where
when
his
you-
parents pop up and talk to him.
Yeah, or
that's
when
what
you
it
go
was.
on like a kid's, you know, when you as a kid you go to a museum and they make you sit in that room and they play the video. That's like this video made possible by the donations of whatever, and then
Yeah.
they just have the like.
So she finds the, and they kind of portal. There's a portal, right? They go into the triangle thing and they portal to it.
Yeah.
Nesta can just walk through the wards, of course. Azrael's just standing back watching.
She's like,
Hey, stand back.
guys.
But like the things that
God, we get so much information.
so much information.
So much fucking information. She's like, and then these Fae came through, and they had long canines, and they could shapeshift. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I know where they came from.
Yeah. Well, so the things that stayed with me from that whole part was one, Amryn said she went into the prison before Thea left. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then Celine says, I created the prison. My mom, once my sister and my mom mom died, me and my sister sent me back with the harp to Prithian. My sister's stuck in Midgard with the horn. I am telling you this story. I am the Dusk, the Princess of Dusk of this house. And I created the prison, and I started creating creatures and grabbing creatures, the bone carver, everybody. She created the prison. Well, Amryn said she went into the prison before then.
Yes.
So it's either one, a plot hole, or two, a lie.
Yeah.
And it's only 20 chapters apart.
It's a plot hole now. It'll be a lie later.
I think it's a lie automatically because an editor would not have missed that. A good editor would not have missed that. 20 chapters later? 20?
I don't think the book had the editors had the leeway over this book that they've had over previous books.
Because you think
I
they
think
pushed
she
it out
cashed
quick?
in some Maas chips and was like, nope, that's on purpose.
Well, and if you look
Not changing
the
it.
Just Hunt and the Just Bryce, I was like, are we just kidding? Like, when was this actually written?
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And we'll see later on.
Because any good editor should have told you this is too fucking choppy. I wanted these sections in big ass chunks. I want to read about Nesta and Asriel until I'm wondering about the other people and then switch.
Yeah.
And then I want to read about them until I'm wondering about what's happening with Nesta and Asriel and then switch. I don't want to be like two paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 2 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs.
Well, and that type of writing is typically saved if you look at the
That's
way
for
she's
a high motion. Yeah.
Right. Like that's how you write in scenes. And that's
Right.
what she's done in the past.
And that's fine. That's when you want the reader to feel the momentum. You
Right.
flip.
And she was flip.
It was really entire
So there
book.
was nowhere to go. You
Right.
started out so
Which is why you can read the
fast.
entire first part and just skip everybody else's point of view.
yeah.
But the other thing about the exposition, the line that stuck with me the moment I read it, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You fucking assholes. Was when she said, I ended up with the Night Court. He was my guy. And I didn't want to be High Lady because all the other lords and their High Ladies. High Ladies. And I didn't want the power that my mom had. And I was like, oh, so you started patriarchy in this world, just like your sister started patriarchy in the other world.
Yeah.
And it's like 2 examples in these
Yes.
worlds of women handing over their power and
Right.
creating patriarchy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, is this what we're doing here?
Mm-hmm.
That just shocked me. And in that one moment, you realize, oh, her and, her great grandmama is Bryce's great aunt.
Yeah.
Or grandmama or whatever. But that Bryce and Rhysand are distantly related.
Yeah.
That Rhysand is keyed in to this power and the power that is left in the prison. So when she pulls up the third of Thea's power and we see the Asteri, we see
Yeah.
Maeve's sister sleeping in the coffin,
Yeah.
in the glass coffin. Rhysand is still keyed into that. And I think that'll matter in our future ACOTAR books. Because there's more stuff, there's more power laying underneath there.
Yeah.
The island's going to come back to life and not be a dead whatever.
Yeah.
But I was a little bit, because we already love Asriel and Nesta, and because we love those characters so much, I don't know if Sarah realized how much we were going to hold Bryce's
Bullshit.
recklessness
Yeah.
against her.
Luring the Midgard worm and then running off and then being like, oh,
Immediately changing your mind.
and being like, oh, no, never mind. Then she turns around and they're like, oh, we're using you as bait now. And she's like, those assholes.
Alpha
Like,
holes,
you
yeah.
just no, she calls them assholes, not
Yeah.
alpha holes. She's like, assholes. Like, she didn't just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the line that we got, the spoiler line, that I just hope there's enough left. Like, you fucking did that.
Yeah.
That was you.
And not realizing that like readers were gonna, because readers don't love Bryce, and I mean I do, but not all readers love Bryce enough to forgive for what she did to Nesta and Asriel.
In this book.
Yeah.
In Crescent City, the first one, fine. Second one, okay. This one, no. She was an entirely different character.
In the 7 days that we got to hang
Yeah.
out with her. Yeah. She definitely went into...
She went full Aelin.
She did.
Yeah, it was...
Some people wouldn't like... Let's see. Some people wouldn't like this.
I'm sorry, have you listened to our podcast? This is Rachel saying this? Hello.
This is a Rach.
This is Rachel saying
Yeah.
It was like watching a Mission Impossible movie where she rips off her mask and psych the whole time she was Aelin.
Yeah.
Because the withholding information until the very last minute, the like total arrogance in every situation, like she knew exactly what was happening and she was the only one who could solve the problem. And yes, it's only 7 days, but if who she is this type of person, I was disappointed in her behavior. I felt a lot better about who she was.
I think a stronger communicator, I think it would have been, Bryce is a strong communicator and she's charming. And I think if we had seen her use that charm that we know to make them understand versus taking away their agency, right?
Yeah.
If she had found a way to convince them, like she did with Nesta later on.
Right.
If she had, if Asriel and Nesta had, well, Az probably would never have done anything without Rhys, but even Rhysand, like if she had found a way to use her intelligence and her charm to communicate effectively enough for them to give her what she needed, that would have felt more true to Bryce.
And she does. She starts out doing that. She gives them all that information. She's like, here, like, let me show you a video of what it's like in my world. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. We have further questions. And she's like, no, I'm done. And that's when they lock her in the cell, which is conveniently above the tunnels that no one's ever explored before. But that's a whole other discussion. But like, she could have just been frank with them because they're like, no, you have a maid thing in you. And she's like, what? No. That's a piercing. It's not a. I'm not gonna.
No.
This is my fun tattoo I got when I was a blackout.
You
pretty,
recognize
isn't
that
it?
language? That's weird. They have that here too. But this, you guys have tattoos. Oh, you do have tattoos. That's really nice.
You guys are covered in tats.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, yeah, I didn't do that on purpose, but I bear this thing, and like I'm not. She could have just come with more frankness, and we wouldn't have had to. It was so combative, and I didn't want it to be combative.
I didn't either.
Yeah, and I think that felt really hard and anti. I'm trying to think.
Immature.
Has she been combative like that the whole time?
No, like in the first book, especially when she's first engaging with Hunt, she's like that.
Yeah.
But then once they come to like a position where, like in the last book where he told everybody he had a dream about Apollyon or whatever, he told them
Napoleon,
not
whatever. Apollyon. Sorry.
Yeah, that he told them about it. Like they were so frank with each other in the last 2 books, and then suddenly we don't communicate. We just stonewall everybody.
Right. Well, I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt because she was only there for 2 days. That whole thing happens in like 2 days.
But it was life or death.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to save Hunt.
Yeah, it was life or death.
And
so
instead
she decided.
of communicating, she's like winking and jumping into rivers and shit.
Yeah. Well, she didn't know Asriel was there. She didn't know there was another option.
She didn't go. Nesta, I think there's another tunnel down there. She was just like peace and jumped in the river. And I was like, "The fuck is wrong with you?"
Well, she was under a lot of pressure. None of us have ever been in a high stakes situation like that.
Yeah.
And apparently, you lose 5 levels of maturity when you're in a high stakes situation. That's true.
We went from the girl that kept her head together and defeated Micah to being unable to communicate on a basic level with other people.
In all, I will say that she got the job. She got the job done.
I mean, she did.
She got the job done in 2 days.
Because the Asteri didn't just leave. All the Asteri ever had to do was be like, okay, leave our foot soldiers and go.
Because she was lucky enough to be in the presence of greatness with Nesta Archeron, our Silver Flames warrior, who was able to not kill her the first time, but definitely kill her the second time when Maeve 2 arose.
Yeah.
So we get to the thing. We see the PowerPoint presentation. Then they fall through the floor. Maeve 2 comes back. She bleeds black, which is a Valg thing that we know.
Yeah.
But then the Asteri that died at the end, Polaris, bled red. So
Yeah. Well, she had the same name too. She was like,
Vesperus.
I am the Northern Star.
Evening.
Whatever. I am the whatever.
The
Sorry,
evening.
I've had to block
He
it out.
stole that name from me.
So maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah. Why was she left behind?
Maybe there's two different types
Why
because
did she get to Snow White it up down there?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snow White it up.
Her like
Yeah.
white skin, red lips, black
Black
hair,
hair.
and her crystal coffin.
Crawling it out like the ring. Ugh, gross.
Yeah.
They said she spied her way out. Oh, so nasty. But yeah, and then she's gone, and Azrael had to go back and tell Rhysand and Cassian.
Yeah.
I'm
how
just
did they
like,
get out?
how
Can
did you
Azrael-
ever live that
Yeah,
down?
because she unlocked. No,
She
but
didn't unlock shit. She blocked them in there and then left.
they could find a way out once she was gone, controlling it, because they would be able to get out.
They're underneath the prison.
Well, they would have had to go back, and Rhysand would
How?
have
She
found them.
closed all the doors with her new magic rock powers
But
that she never has again.
maybe on the way. That's not true.
When does she use them again?
It's not new magic rock powers. It's because her blood was tied to the prison.
Oh.
She had power over the prison, just like Rhysand would.
Well, she sealed all the exits and then
Well,
dipped.
Well, I'm sure they could have.
I mean, they got out, but she didn't make sure that she didn't open the door.
But we don't
before
know
she
that
left?
because it's not in first person. She could have, and we just don't know. Maybe
Okay.
it's fine. She left. She left them. She left them,
Okay.
and then they fend for themselves, and they got.
escaped from the prison from which there is no escape. I got it.
From which there is no escape.
I mean, she didn't lock him in a cage like the other prisoners in the prison.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a
And
cell.
she woke the prison up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I don't know what happened. Maybe Rhysand came and
They
found him.
chiseled it
I think
out.
Rhysand rescued them.
Yeah, Rhysand probably
probably.
went to get him.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
We'll probably hear about it in the next book because I'm sure he won't let them live it down.
Remember
if
that
he had to
time?
rescue
Remember that
them.
time that short redhead in those pink ass sneakers stole your knife?
And I had to rescue your ass.
Yeah.
Remember that?
No, okay, let's just take a moment and put some respect on the pink sneakers.
Some respect. Those pink sneakers have now been to another world.
Another
Yeah.
planet. They vacuumed up a archangel.
Are they the same ones?
They are.
They're the
Okay.
same.
They are the same.
Why
She wasn't wearing them in the whole book, but she was definitely wearing them when she went to Prithian.
Yeah, which means she wore them to the Asteri thing, to the archives.
Yes.
Yes.
When they were
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing their
Black
thing.
leggings, white t-shirt,
Yeah,
and
she went
hot
stealth.
pink.
Yeah. She was like,
Let's
I
be,
can blend into the
let's be
shadows.
Bryce for Halloween. Let's be Bryce
I
for
want to be
Halloween.
Lahaba for Halloween.
Okay,
I want
I'll
to be
be
Lahaba
Bryce.
every day of my life. So another thing in the first part. All right, let's get into Hunt, Baxian, and Rune, the buddies rom-com torture scenes. And I want to go ahead and make a joke about how Rachel fucking hates torture scenes, but did text us and go, why aren't they being meaner to these guys?
Why are they? Because you want me to believe? No, you got to sell it. If you're going to make me watch this torture scene, it had better be believable. And the lead up to it, the end of Sky and Breath was already like it didn't feel like a good enough build up to this. And then we're finally here and they're in this room together so they can like joke and support each other and be like,
Torture 101. Separate the prisoners.
Separate the prisoners.
Well-
Come on, Sarah. You put a torture scene in every fucking book. You can't
the
figure this out.
prisoners.
Well,
Jesus.
I enjoyed the levity
I was
and
glad
the
that they
soul
didn't.
support that they had from their brothers in chains.
Yeah.
Did
You
you
know?
know that the pressure it takes to bite through a bone is the same as it
As a
takes to
carrot?
bite through a carrot?
I did know that. Yeah.
And now you know.
But you can't physically make yourself do it.
You can't
do
do
it
it.
to yourself, but you
Yeah.
could do it to someone else.
That ruined my
Like
life.
a baby carrot.
Like a baby carrot.
I
Like,
think
I
about
won't
it all the
sleep
time.
tonight.
If you can bite
Bite
a carrot,
a baby
you
carrot.
can chew off Rune's hand.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Y'all, I'm not gonna
I'm
gonna
never
lie.
eating carrots again.
That shit was so funny to me.
Kate texted me. She goes, "Are you at this part yet?" Because I thought it was really hilarious, and I was like, "No, it's not funny."
I couldn't.
She's like,
I could not. I was laughing my ass off when they were like, "Someone's got to bite his hand off." I was like, "No way, no way! Are you guys really gonna do this? Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's gonna grow back." I wasn't really sure what they needed the hand being bitten off for.
So he could escape his
distance,
bonds.
so he could reach farther. But then
Baxian has to be like,
But then he didn't
I'll
have
do
a
it.
hand to reach
But
with,
then,
which they don't
what are you
think
gonna
about till
do with these
afterwards.
nubs? If you get free from the shackles, what are you gonna do?
I just, we've seen too many movies where, like Deadpool, we've seen Deadpool,
Yeah.
where his little baby hand is growing
It's
back.
gonna look so big.
I could not wait. I could not wait until the book had been out long enough for me to make a post about that.
All I could see and all I could think about was these tiny little hands growing out.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
one.
Well, she said in that interview, "Oh, poor Rune and Hunt, poor Rune and Hunt," and I just didn't think. I was never really that. I was like, "Y'all are having the best time down there." I mean, granted, emotionally, it's it's a torture scene,
Yeah.
but it did have some levity, and I was actually.
They got to. It was like a bonding experience.
It was.
got
They
to go
trauma
through it
bonded together.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Which is why she should have separated them.
A real torturer probably
Would
would
have
have.
separated them.
But Pollux isn't bright.
That's true.
Pollux isn't bright.
No.
He's an arrogant, egotistical asshole.
Maybe Lydia was like, "Yeah, keep them together.
Yeah, that'll be
really
worse.
break them down."
That'll
And then,
yeah.
and then the hawk.
and he was like, "Okay."
Which it wasn't Vaughn, and I was so sad about.
it
which is
wasn't
fine.
anybody. Why include a character if the character's not going to do anything but stand behind Pollux and just be like, "Oh yeah."
You got to learn from Vaughn though. You
gotta
can't
take
bring up
you.
somebody.
What? No.
You can't bring someone up and not. She had to tie it off. She had to tie the knot off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
No more Vaughns.
That's
Okay.
okay.
No more Vaughns.
That's what that scene is later with when Ethan has his showdown with Sabine, and every character she'd forgotten about was all there.
yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Here's the astronomer.
It was another
And here's Sigrid.
Sigrid.
Oh, you're here too.
You're going to be
You know what?
really important in this book, but we just shat on you instead.
It was
Yeah.
another.
Hannah was like,
Ianthe?
I think
What's
it's
her name?
Siggy on the front. And I was like, okay.
I thought this book was going to be about, but I don't have a very good track record of like,
No,
you know.
Prediction.
it wasn't.
She was like,
no.
I really think it's like Lydia or Sigrid. And I was like, okay.
we don't see them again for this whole
No.
book. So
Well, we see Lydia.
Lydia's great.
She gets
Lydia's
tragic,
Lydia's-
accessible backstory.
she is a really good character. I'm really grateful for her.
Yeah,
She was a good
she was
addition.
the only interesting character.
and
Yeah.
she was our crossover into
Throne of Glass.
Throne
Yeah.
of Glass.
Yep. Which we'll talk about in a minute. I liked Arithis, seeing the little fire sprite, seeing how much integrity, like you really get a better glimpse of like who they are just as a people. And like watching Lydia, getting a hint that, Lydia, getting to see her hind,
Yeah,
getting Lydia doing the Lydia thing
Yeah.
was really good. Her showing us how good Lydia is versus telling us.
Yeah.
But that really kind of sums up the first part. I mean, you've got the whole Sigrid. We start out at the Viper Queen. The Viper
Ethan
Queen.
is sad, and Therian is sad.
I mean, Therian is a reckless person that hates himself and
Yeah.
cannot he's lost.
I was less mad at the Therian story. I was okay with the Therian story. It was the Ethan story that like was nails on a chalkboard.
I found Ethan incredibly annoying.
yeah.
Isn't the best way I can describe it. But they've gotten a lot of shit. There's a lot of jokes out there about
Yeah,
him.
I mean, I would, yeah, Ethan deserves it. But Therian, and we don't, I think the reason Therian doesn't hit is because we don't get the payoff from when he gets away from the Viper Queen.
Right.
Like he goes through withdrawal off page.
I don't even see why Therian had to be in this book, and I'm just going to say that.
well, I
Like,
think
at least Ethan had some stuff to do. He had to kill certain people, and he had to do this. And Therian, what was his point besides
Well,
just
I
making
think-
a series of irrational decisions?
Well, I do think that he'll be in House of Many Waters, and I think that his story will continue to grow, and I think that we have to see him be a floundering, bumbling idiot for a little bit to get him someplace.
I would
He
rather
did
have
get
seen
growth.
him.
He got more growth than Ethan did.
Yeah, I mean, once he started really pinpointing who he
After-
was and what and what his purpose was with Sathya,
You mean
I think
his external character development.
yeah.
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 I can't get Therian to a point where he can talk to the River Queen. So I'm just going to give him an accessory that can talk to the
I'm
River
gonna
Queen.
give him a wife.
Okay,
because,
thank you. Because I
yeah.
was like,
it's-
what is the point
maybe-
of this?
Hey
girl?
guys, maybe it is commentary on how like how stupid men can be.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
That's what I took away from this book.
Because she can have a conversation. She's the only person in this whole section who can have a conversation. Like, she's not showboating. She's not snarling. She's not wisecracking.
Sathya?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you talking about in the third part when she talks to the River
She
Queen?
literally just has a conversation with the River Queen. And guess what, y'all? Shit gets done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe that's, I mean, we've got two women who hand their power away and create 15,000 years of patriarchy.
Yeah.
So maybe that is, we get just Bryce, just Ken. Maybe she was putting in, little examples of the competency of young men.
Yeah.
I hate to say that because I don't, you know what I mean? But
Yeah, we're
Ethan
not trying to
definitely
hate on men, but
19-year-old Farah definitely did some like amazing things, and 21-year-old Sunball Captain,
Yeah.
well, he did good in the third part. I'm grateful that he went from thinking Siggy was everything to realizing he could do it himself in 2 chapters. But
then he should have left her in the tank.
yeah, they spent way too much time that she was
The whole secret.
the fact that she was like, okay,
mad.
she's like, how am I gonna get Hypaxia and Ethan to Avalon? How am I gonna get them there?
Oh, I'll just put her body there.
Yeah. Oh, they'll need electricity to bring Sigrid back from because I accidentally turned her into a Reaper.
No, Sigrid chose to be a
Hypaxia comes off as a very competent person, but we have a really bad track record.
Sigrid
She's
chose
not
to
done
be a
anything
Reaper.
right.
Oh, she did.
Yeah, she says
Well,
there's 2
Well,
doors.
and
you can-
so
yeah.
I was telling Hannah this too. So one of the things about, first of all, Elizabeth Evans, you're the shit, and I love her
Love you,
so
Elizabeth.
much. Sometimes she will choose a tone for a character where I have to stop reading it because she, dramatizing voices, you give them way more attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of these people in my head, they're way drier and more just cut and dry.
Yeah.
Sigrid was a little fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I did
Well,
not.
that's fair.
I did not like listening to her. I did not like the tone they were giving her. I wanted her to have more of just a like, I've been in a tank my entire life, so I'm just asking like really blunt questions versus the like tone. So I just didn't like her.
That's a
she
good
Oh,
was
point.
dislikable.
She was
She
dislikable.
was very dislikable.
Okay.
Then why
So it wasn't
did you
just
set
that.
I don't
us
know.
up in the second book to like Sigrid? What was the entire point of her?
Because
Yeah.
like the first chance she has to kill Ethan, she tries to kill Ethan. The Viper Queen's like, kill Ethan. She's like, cool. Done. After all he's done, after he got her out, after he almost
Right.
killed
And then he
Sabine for her
Wolverines her neck.
Yeah.
on accident.
Oops.
He like,
Ah, shit.
I was going for his shoulder.
I didn't mean to eat her. I didn't mean to kill her.
That went right
yeah.
through her neck, didn't it? Shit.
Yeah.
And I just ripped it out and chopped
And then he
off her
takes his
head.
hand out.
Oh, her whole head falls off.
I was like, what is happening?
And he
Yes.
accidentally killed her, and then
Yeah.
he dwelled on that for so long.
I know.
He like couldn't forgive himself for that mistake.
No, even
we
though
have to
she
remember
was
this was
trying to
only
kill him.
5 days. We just
Thank
got to
you.
live in his.
keep
he
reminding
just we
me
just
that.
get to live in his mind for like 5 days.
It was a hard 5 days.
It was. I don't think it works for her stories. We've never
needed
ever
more
had a
time.
story that was this this short. I mean, these books typically span over months.
Yeah.
The amount of new things that we get in this book that have never before been mentioned, or maybe like a tiny bit mentioned. There's so many new things. There's too many new things in 5 to 7 days. 5 to 7 business days.
Well, it is
With no weekend off.
Yeah.
It is a lot happening for sure.
Are we in the second part now?
We
Can we talk
are.
about powering up? Or
No,
is that
that's in the third part. I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, then we move into the search. This was the part that was, Bryce ends up back at the, she immediately goes to her dad because she needs to learn. She gets stuck on what thin parts are. She wants to know what thin parts are.
That doesn't seem like a difficult thing to grasp.
Yeah, or the knives.
Where there are
she wants
mists,
to.
the world is thin. What do you mean, though?
What does thin mean? I mean, I can see that. It's a mystery. Ask more questions,
And
please.
then they're like, okay, well, the knife and the dagger want to be together. Okay, well, what does that mean?
Well, what happens when they're together? And I guess that makes sense that there's some caution there. I think the amount of power that they feel when she's holding them, it is terrifying. So that this whole middle chapter is just, it's a search.
Yeah.
We're searching. We're continuing to search. So at the end of the first part, Lydia gets out Hunt and Rune. I think
Without Rune's help.
without Rune's help
Because
at
he
all.
won't talk to her. Like a petty ass motherfucker.
Yeah, so you were right about Rune having a really hard time with coming to terms with her being
And
behind.
he's like, I just need time to process that. And I wanted to vomit. I was so upset when he was like, you can't just tell me who you are and then expect me to just accept you. I need time to process it.
Yep, 3 days wasn't enough. You know? Yeah, he had a hard time.
Well,
And
then
he's
you
allowed-
process
he's
it
allowed to
later.
have-
You
he's
have
allowed to
3
have a hard
days.
time.
You just suspend. Okay, we're not in love right now, but you are an asset and I need to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, he's only 75. So I want you to remember that.
Kate, you can't keep telling me these people are dumb under pressure. Not
No.
everyone
I'm
is
saying
dumb
that,
under pressure.
I'm saying that Rune is
Okay.
immature.
Okay.
He's only 75
Because he's only
years old.
75 years old.
Yeah.
And Rhysand and his homies and Cassian and Az are like 500. So they're like 25, 30.
Yeah. Well, he's lived as an adolescent. Like,
He is an
Yeah.
adolescent.
Yeah.
He is again, it's another commentary on
An
how
angsty teenager.
silly,
yeah.
irrational
Boys are.
men can be at times.
I did not want the Hind to forgive him. I did not.
Well,
I was like, I get that they're mates and that's why we get back together because, well, we're fated. But also, it's a little unforgivable because he risks her life by
Does she
being
have
an
a
asshole.
Scorpio moon?
the Hind.
No, me.
Doesn't she have some
No.
Scorpio in her?
What was your moon sign?
I think it was
It might be
whatever the fairness one is.
Oh,
Libra.
Libra.
Yeah.
You have a Libra moon.
Yeah, Libra moon. Which that tracks.
Yeah. That
So, well, I'm just going to throw out some stuff we learned in the second part.
yeah.
you
Throw it
know,
out there.
We get a lot more of, I think, Ethan and Jessica's team up. I do kind of enjoy that. I love Jessica, and I will read any page that Jessica's on ever.
I did like Jessica.
So when Jessica showed up, I was like, okay, I can take you again.
He's like, it's hard to find a good assistant. That was my favorite line
Yeah.
in the whole book.
Because she really runs with that
I-
because she's not allowed, she won't let herself have feelings.
No.
I thought it was a little bit out of character, although we don't know much about her, for her to have been so giving with information to
Yeah,
him.
it was extremely out of character. Like,
But-
well,
But
since you
Bryce
asked,
never
here I go.
asked. Bryce never asked.
And also, I think that Jessica was reading the signs, knew that Bryce was about to fix the whole Asteri problem and that she was not going to be long for this world. So I feel like she was trying to pass down as much information.
I also think that Jessica is a fucking billionaire.
Yeah.
No doubt, 100%.
She
She's
has
a
to be.
billionaire.
Right. Well, she's 15,000 years old.
Yeah, she's a billionaire. 100%. I was like, how is this woman just like 90 mil? I got you.
She's like, done.
Done.
It's
Don't
yours.
change.
Whatever you need. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's a billionaire. I loved House of Flame and Shadow. My favorite thing about it was that they
The
have
smooth jazz.
that like
Which I totally get.
Yeah.
That makes sense
like
to
and
me.
them having the like chefs, like
Yeah.
them having the best food.
Yes.
So them having the vices, right? Like the
This
jazz.
is Rachel's house.
Yeah, the
No,
jazz, the delicious, them being foodies. Like
all I
I
could hear.
adored that.
All I could hear when Ethan walks in and he describes the room and he says there's a jazz player in the corner was like Kenny G. Like,
Yeah.
do, 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 do. They're all like lounging. to
Yeah.
With like vampires just looking around.
saxophone player.
I mean, like it
my
it
God.
makes sense. But him going to the House of Flame and Shadows, I mean, she had to pull it in somehow.
Yeah.
So we go get Jessica. I forget what else happened.
He goes to the clubhouse.
The clubhouse.
Yes, the House of Flames.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clubhouse.
And then Hypaxia shows up, I think.
After they decide that they need to bring Sigurd back because
Yeah. She
Siggy.
literally shows up and goes, Oh, I'm so glad you came. You're the necromancer I was looking for. Like, she
And
just
he's like,
pops
"Are
up.
you sure? Because I've tried to necromance with her before.
I
and
forgot about that because it didn't work out.
so well. She's the best one I know. Ooh.
Oh.
Interesting
it's
because
just supposed to be an exact
our
science.
track record is 0 to 1.
Yeah.
0 to 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica's 15,000 years old. She is actually one of the priestesses that she's dedicated her whole life. She's like the best librarian that's ever existed.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is the best librarian.
And I'm going to let you in on a little thing. I think that Apollyon is correct. I think that the books, she is a liar and the books do actually have power. Because at the end, he goes, "Priestess, you're a liar." And she goes, "No, I'm not. I told you these books don't have any power. I just want them protected."
That's clearly a lie.
I think so. We'll
Yeah.
see, though. We'll see. Because she's held her ground. But I thought it was a really cool point where she could just like shake her age off.
Yeah.
Like, ugh,
She's like
I'm
Barbie flips
22
her hair.
again. Ugh. Here we go. But she was so forthright. And I thought that was a little bit.
I just love Ethan packing the boxes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
One
Maybe
of my
she'll turn me into
wrap.
a worm and step on me.
And another part that I laughed really hard at every time I've heard it was when he's like, the chapter starts off going, Ethan was looking at a statue of Chthona on her 4 legs with the Midgard birthing out Midgard. I loved that so much. It's just like her on her hands and knees and just like birthing, like legitimately how you would want to birth.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
There were some funny. It was funny. It was a funny book.
Unintentionally.
No, I think she's
Intentionally
funny.
and
unintentionally.
unintentionally.
I think she's funny.
I don't think the rune getting his hand chewed off was supposed to
That
be
was
a
not.
funny scene.
That was unintentional humor.
I was like, what? Just because they were all together and like had to if they hadn't had to like make the decision, it wouldn't have been funny. But they had to be like, all right, man, I'll do it. I'll do it.
I barely know this guy.
Baxian's like throwing up in the corner.
I'll just imagine a carrot.
Oh my God.
Just imagine a carrot. It was the hunt going, I'm going to have to bear this guilt on my soul forever.
And Bryce's like, shut up. Oh, get over it.
She's like, I got lost.
Okay, guys.
I had to sleep on the ground. And I was
guys.
like, I got tortured with my friends. And
So-
she's like, I mean, whatever.
So they get picked up. Lydia saves them. Deck and Flynn.
Deck and Flynn.
Deck and Flynn show up, save the day. Declan was pulling the team around the
If
whole
not
time.
for
Yeah.
those two,
does
we would
Flynn
have all
do?
been dead.
What does Flynn
He has
do?
okay. He's
He's
charming,
funny.
and he
Okay.
protects Declan while Declan is hacking.
Okay.
But Deck can't be safe without Flynn.
Okay.
So
and his
that is what he
winning
does.
personality.
I'm
And he has a
just
southern
checking in.
he has a southern accent.
He has a
Okay.
southern accent.
Yeah, which I saw some people online talking shit about the southern accent. I was like, I will come for you. This is what people around me sound like. So they get out. They're on we come back to Rachel's favorite place,
The octopus
the
ship.
octopus ship, the city ship. And then we learn that Lydia has 2 boys
Yeah.
and that her sons' name are Actaeon and Bran.
But don't worry, they're not Pollexes.
They're not Pollexes.
I wasn't worried.
I wasn't worried either.
She was like, no, I did like a fertility thing.
She had she did the right.
Yeah.
She did the right.
She did the right
Yeah, she did the right.
with Tam Tam. Just kidding.
Yeah, maybe. And one of her boys is blonde with blue eyes wearing a terracin green shirt. And the other one is black haired with golden eyes wearing a black shirt. So,
Wow, those genes were strong to last 15,000 years.
we don't know whose genes they are, though. That was a fight. Not a fight, but people were yelling at me on TikTok. Just kidding, typing strongly.
Yeah.
Aggressively commenting.
Well, I made a comment about, like, it's headcanon for me, right? I see it on the page. There's this very intentional line about blue eyes, blonde hair, green shirt. Okay, Terracin, I hear you. My name's Bran. Like Brannon?
Yeah. Which she says at the end.
It's Brannon. It's an old lineage.
Yeah.
It's her family comes from Fire Stags, which were from Brannon. Now, I'm going to get into my lore issues in a second with that.
Okay.
But then she also says black hair, golden eyes. Well, Manon had golden eyes, and Dorian had black hair. But I was like, oh, this would, in my head canon, how wonderful would it be if, how wonderful would it be if Aelin and Rowan had a baby and Manon and Dorian had a baby? Because, you know, like, and then the babies had babies.
So cousin love?
Who would be cousins?
I mean,
Aelin and
distant
Dorian
cousins.
Dorian and Aelin aren't cousins.
They're from the same.
They were like 1,000 years. 1,000 years. In Fae world, that's like two.
It would
you're
be
right.
cute, Kate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Moving on. Anyways, everybody was like, let me tell you why that's not possible. And I was like, well, that's why I labeled it headcanon, because you can't get mad at me spreading misinformation.
Yeah.
I'm not spreading misinformation. I'm just saying, how wonderful would this be?
It'd be cool.
But we'll talk about the dates in a minute. Actually, let's talk about it now. Sorry, I shouldn't be bopping around.
It.
Okay. So, if Lydia's family came from Aurelia 15,000 years ago, okay, the timeline in Throne of Glass, without knowing how old Brannon was when he died, we know that Brannon was born in Windland. We know that Brannon was at least 2,000 years old because he met Mala when he was 2,000. And we know that Aelin's storyline takes place 1,000 to 1,500 years after Brannon dies, right? That time between Elena and Brannon and Aelin is only 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So in like Prythian and Midgard, we get these huge 15,000 year timelines. But in Throne of Glass, we never saw anything more than like 2,000 years. But we also don't know how old Brannon was. But my whole point is, Brannon would have had to have been... A lot of people were thinking, well, Aelin's storyline is synced up to Prythian and Midgard because she fell through the worlds.
Yeah.
I've always thought Aelin's story happened in the past and that she fell through time and space.
Yes.
That's how I've seen it.
That makes sense.
But some people were like, no, Aelin's still alive.
Some
which
people
she
are wrong.
could be alive. She could be alive, but she would be like 7,000 years old.
Right.
Which is possible.
Yeah.
And so then I'm thinking, like, how old would Brannon actually have to be for Aelin's story to sync up and align? I mean, he would have had to have been like 10...
Wait, what's 10 times 15?
150.
It's just so much.
I don't know.
So much, I don't know the math. The math is too hard. But it just... So for me, the moment that she said that, I was like, okay, well, this is proving that Aelin is in the past. Because the time just doesn't sync.
Right.
It just makes sense to me.
Plus, she's the heir of Mala Firebringer. Like, she has her flames.
She has
Brandon's...
ring.
Brandon had fire. Brandon had fire.
But who else has fire?
Brandon and Mala had fire. So the other, like, what everyone's like, no, you're wrong. They cannot be descendants of Aelin. And I'm like, oh, okay. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Thanks for telling me. Thank you for, thanks for ruining my head
I feel
canon.
so corrected.
Thank you for your correction.
I think you'll find.
So the idea
That's why
is,
I don't run the TikTok.
right. So
Right.
I think you'll find that, no, they're probably right. So Brandon's older. And then somewhere between Brannon and, so Mala brings the sun stags to Terrasen and brings those. That's how sun stags. But Lydia's family is like sun stag shifters.
Yeah.
So at some point between Brannon and Aelin, a part of the family. Are you laughing at me burping or hitting the thing?
Hitting the thing, and then I thought about last time how you were like,
The thumbs up.
what am I doing?
Oh, we're not.
I'm sorry.
No,
The shifters.
The stag shifters are probably cousins. So Lydia is probably not a descendant of Aelin, but a cousin. Some other line.
It's still a descendant
Of Brannon, not Aelin. So
but
whatever.
it's all in the same family.
Well, I
But
know,
we
but
aren't gonna know this until she writes it, so it really doesn't
yeah,
matter.
but there's
Nothing
there was so
matters.
much so much what you're saying cannot be, and I was just like, "Ugh, fine. I even
Can't
reached
have
out.
fun.
I
You
even
can't
reached out
make
to this.
jokes.
I don't even know why you give TikTok your time. I
I don't know either. It's impulsive. Okay, I have been sober 7 years. My impulse to check TikTok is worse than my impulse to drink was. Like it's
Wow,
and
that's powerful.
it's like beyond an addiction.
Yeah.
It's because But I reached out. I like Googled Throne of Glass timeline, and there's this girl on TikTok. Her name is Hannah, like you. And she has like this incredible spreadsheet that does, and I sent her a message. I was like, hey, girl.
Got that PDF.
No, I got it. I mean, I was looking at it. I was like, hey, can I pick your brain about something? I was like, what do you think about the timelines adding up? And then I did like eight different text messages. She never responded back. She originally responded and was like, yeah, what kind of questions do you have? And I was like,
She didn't know how deep you were going.
I was like, what do you think about this?
Oh, she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, one of those.
She's great.
No, I think that she probably just has a lot of people.
I'm sure.
No, she doesn't. She
Okay.
she doesn't have
She
too
doesn't
many
like you.
people. No. Yeah, maybe not. I mean, it's only been 6 hours.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah. it's
she
only
could
been
hate me. She could
like
hate me.
sleeping.
Ghosted me. We're never gonna be friends.
Or maybe I
Took
asked so
6
many.
hours.
It's maybe
She's working on it.
Maybe she has a job
Oh,
Maybe.
could be.
and she has to think about it.
She
Or
has a
she's
job.
not in our time.
She could be going night-night.
Yeah, it could be.
She could be going night night. Yeah. She's American though, so she would be behind us if she was in a different time zone. Anyways, so we are going to share the link if it's okay. Can we share the link?
Yeah.
With the PDF at least. It's a really, really great place to go. She has the timeline in this like really well done like Google sheet of every single book. It's
love that.
super, super
I
detailed.
love that.
And I said, you seem to be an authority according to Google. So can I ask you this question? And she's like, yes, of course. Just give me credit. Girl, of course I'm gonna give you credit. I'm not gonna like
Credit all day.
credit all day. Anyway, so it's still the word's still out on whether she's gonna respond. She might
The word
Word.
as in the
Erd
erd.
is in the cauldron.
As in
I don't need your face like that, Rachel.
I didn't make a face.
right your face.
Okay, so
I growled
Rachel was
like everyone in this
correct.
book did.
We don't find that out to the third act, but Rachel was right. Erd and the word and the cauldron are all the same thing.
Yep.
And word was a person. So word marks are a real thing.
Well, they're like fate.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily
And
a person.
you said something, it's like a god that controls fate. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a whole series about it. As maybe.
But she's very specific about how it doesn't have a shape.
Yeah.
It's just fate.
Yeah.
Although when they go to that temple where they meet the Underking, there's a goddess with a bowl
Yeah.
with words down the side, which Ethan says look familiar, but I'm going to set my curiosity aside.
But then he tells us what it is. What?
He doesn't go back and look at the bowl again
Why would he need to?
because it has writing on the side that he recognized. He's like, oh, I recognize that alphabet, but I can't
Because
think
it's
about
word
that
marks
right now.
and it looks like Bryce's tattoo.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't be
Ethan
able.
had a lot going
But
on at the time.
he
did.
notices that it looks like her tattoo, but he's not gonna.
He just says it looks familiar. He doesn't say it looks like her tattoo.
Well, that's where I see that writing.
yeah.
We can tell him.
We can tell him.
Yeah.
We can tell him their word
Ethan,
mark.
It's from the tattoo.
Yeah, it looks like Bryce's tattoo.
Yeah.
Also, so Rachel said earlier, you think that the Underking was a Valg.
Yeah.
I think he was a Barrow White. Because he specifically says, I didn't have to hide in caves and barrows anymore. And in Air of Fire, remember the Barrow White creature that they were always trying to stay away from because he sucks out people's souls and makes them really sad? I
Wasn't
think,
that a Vogue?
no.
No, it was a different
That was like the
creature.
Skinwalker guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was a Barrow White. So I think he was like a very malicious, malevolent creature. But I don't know if I think the
Because
Volks.
he eats their souls.
But I think Volks are actually more like Asteri. I think they're like a different sect of the homeworld that the Asteri came from, which is why they made word marks and word keys.
And
if that
the
makes
Vogue
sense.
can make themselves look however they want.
Right. I do think the Vogue are Asteri.
For sure.
But let's see, what else happens in this one? Oh, I'm not going to lie. Hannah and I had a different take on this. I think that Hunt and Bryce's reunion was really shitty. I hated it. I was really that was one thing that I was really disappointed in.
And they got back together after he got out.
Yeah, and she walks
the
into the
octopus ship.
meeting. She walks into the meeting with the queen. In my mind, Bryce and Hunt's reconnection and like, oh my God, Bryce is alive and back on this planet would take precedence over having to be professional and a queen of this meeting.
Yeah.
But instead, she walks in immediately, puts that aside, and is like, sup, I'm Bryce Quinlan, Princess of the Valbaran Prey.
She's real bratty to Hunt. Like, real bratty.
Right, which is why I think if she had made the choice to let them have a moment and then the queen be like, okay, what, am I interrupting something? I'm literally the queen of the ocean. Why are you guys hugging and humping each other on the table?
Right.
Well, we haven't seen each other and we thought we were dead.
Instead of walking and saying she was queen, which is not how that works.
Right. Because, I mean, Bryce knew that Hunt was alive, but Hunt didn't know Bryce was alive.
Right.
So I feel like if she had let them have that moment to prioritize, her brattiness wouldn't have been so
Grating?
highlighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's strange that I had such a different take on that scene, considering that I really hated Bryce in this book.
Well, you don't like PDA.
Yeah, I don't like PDA, but I really thought I liked how she came in and they had their emotions. Sarah talks about their emotions, but they put it aside to do this right now, and then we'll have our moment after. And to me, that's very powerful. And it just makes me think, okay, to me, it was the best she was in the book, which is kind of weird. Now
Couldn't
that
it
I
have been
think
something
about it.
subtle, like they took each other's hand or something? Instead
Well,
of
she
just,
did. Like, they did touch.
Or like, did they?
Yeah, she like came up behind him and like squeezed his shoulder or something while she's talking to the little woman.
the little ocean queen.
No, she grows.
Yeah.
I loved that.
You add
she's-
drops of water to
Yeah,
her,
sometimes
and she
she's
gets
little
taller.
and sometimes she's big.
I love that.
I did too.
I wish that could happen to me.
Me too. As someone that stands 5 feet tall, I really wish at times I can tower over
I
people.
wish that my physical body could match the inner power.
Who you are
Yeah.
inside.
Like when I get really mad, I can
you
get
grow.
really big.
Yeah. And then you can chuck people around like a Hulk suit, like the mech suits, which is basically like just Iron Man's Hulk suit.
I am waiting.
I
Well,
Yeah.
I
you
will
know,
have my moment. But
So-
this is your moment.
yeah. So, disperse with your moments.
No.
No.
I'm
It's
saving
not-
them.
no,
I have a
we'll
list.
save that for part 3.
I wrote them down.
Okay. Well, so we're on the ship together, and we have a reunion, and everybody's there, and the Ocean Queen threat.
Except Ethan.
Yeah, but
'Cause
don't
he
worry.
was like,
He magically has to go to Avalon.
Never mind. And then he ran 100
Well,
miles back to.
He and Hypaxia are going to come up with a reason for
Yeah.
the first time in their lives to go to the same place that they're at
Yeah.
for the first time in their lives
Yeah.
in 2 days.
Yeah.
So they got to go to Avalon because they got to go check out the libraries, the archives, and the caves.
Yeah.
So let's just get us there. Team Cave, Team Archive.
Yeah.
Keem
Tave.
Taves.
Keem Tave.
Keem Taves all the way.
Yep.
Yeah. So we go to Keem Taves. Team
And
Caves.
the archive
And we get
of
to Morven.
Nonsense.
Yeah, and we get to Morven. Morven's a major dude.
He's a
Oh,
douche.
my favorite part, we get ready to leave from the octopus sub, and Flynn and Deck are late because they were fucking eating waffles.
Is that what happened?
This is not the fucking moment, Sarah.
Yeah,
For them
they
to
were.
be late because they're like, the
They
men
were-
know how to do
They were
breakfast.
in the cafeteria.
I
No.
skipped it. I didn't remember that part.
I was like,
Why are you so mad
the
about
part
that?
made me
because
mad.
we are in a race to save the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got distracted by some fucking
I mean,
waffles.
it's Deck and Flint.
Man the fuck up.
I do
the
really
techies.
like waffles.
Man up.
I do
You
like-
want me
I
to
want some
believe
waffles. Do you have waffles?
You want me to believe that there's stakes in this book? Then these characters need to
Yeah.
believe that there's stakes in this book.
But yeah.
What about Therian? You don't leave this ship, okay,
he's like,
Therian? Don't
yep.
you dare! Don't you, Therian?
Look, I'm watching you.
Don't you dare leave this ship!
He's like a toddler.
And then he
And
jumps
they're
and
like,
he's like,
Bye,
motherfucker."
Therian.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, not like
It's
we
to-
were trying to like.
That's fine.
We
It's to
weren't
get
trying
him
to
there
build
so he
relations with this queen.
He can
it's
take
fine.
Flynn's sister and marry her
It's
because
to-
it's a necessary plot line.
It's to get him there so he can get his external character development.
Yeah.
That he carries around with him for the rest of the book.
Or his life.
Well, no, because she immediately meets like
No,
a random dude.
she's
She's like, "Oh my god, Colin!"
No, he's not
Oh,
random.
Colin!
Okay, Rach. He's not
Colin!
Rachel. He's not
That was like
random.
Her,
That's
her
the love
crush.
of her life.
Okay, well, he was random in this
She
book.
thought he died, and that was
Oh,
her
yeah.
ordeal. Like that was her everybody.
Yeah, that
her
was
everything.
That was her ordeal.
And her dad sold him to the Viper Queen, and so he then had to go be a.
Yeah, when he
A
shows
junkie.
up, it's random.
And we've
Yeah, that's
already
because
learned
she
that there
is
is no
random.
divorce in the Fae world.
Well, they're gonna change the world. They can make some divorce.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it is fine.
They're gonna have candles.
They break down the monarchies.
I mean, maybe Bryce could have done that before she gave up her position, but that's fine.
she didn't give up position of power. She just renamed it and got rid of the monarchy. So she's still going to be a really powerful character. She's just the president now instead of the
queen.
instead of the queen.
All right.
Prime Minister Bryce.
Yeah. So we get to Avalon. Morven's a douchebag, but he talks like Cormac, which is very deceiving. Because I really like Elizabeth Evans' Scottish accent. It's very handsome.
It's very
It has a
handsome.
handsome sound. And then those stupid twins,
The murder twins,
the murder
MacGuffins?
twins.
Yeah.
Yeah. The goons.
Yeah.
She brought the word goon back, which I really liked.
Yeah.
So then we,
That made me laugh.
yeah, I laughed. Yeah, I laughed a lot. So then we go Team Caves, Team Archives. And then we go back into the caves again.
Yeah. The same
And
cave.
And
but
we
in a different
realize,
spot.
yeah, in a different place. And we realize, Rune and Lydia are reevaluating their love for each other. And
They're mates.
they're mates. Ugh. And and Bryce realizes that the fucking caves are made out of black salt. Mm-hmm. And then
She
they
like licks the floor, then
Yeah.
doesn't say anything. She's like, and they're like, "What was that for?" She was like,
I don't
"Just
know.
checking."
I don't know. It was the floor.
No, yeah, no. It was where the claws of the like things had scraped
Oh,
on the
really?
ground. Yeah,
She's
she
like
Like
reaches,
a rock.
she like
She licks
leans
it.
down and like licks her fingers.
It tastes like demons to me.
Yukon Cornelius.
I don't understand that reference.
Yeah.
It's from the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Thank you, Rach.
Yeah,
Oh.
the one with Bumble, the little guy.
Nope.
Yeah,
None.
no, it's fine. So
No.
maybe we should do one on that next Christmas because it is the misogynist masterpiece.
I love
Yes.
that for
Oh,
Christmas.
yeah.
And I have. Anyway, go ahead.
Well,
I
so
won't destroy everybody's dreams today.
what?
Because it's Rudolph, but like Rudolph has to he okay.
It's everything that's wrong with society.
Everything that's wrong
in
with
that-
society is in the Rudolph
Yes.
movie.
Oh, but they just didn't know it at the time.
Well, they did. It was the 50s. They didn't care.
No,
Well,
yeah.
of course Rudolph has to hide his nose. He's different.
Yeah, it's gross.
Obviously.
Oh, gross. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course, the elf has to leave. He's gay.
Yeah, he's gay. He can't be like the other elves and make
Is
toys
that really
like
what
the other
happened?
elves. Yes.
Wait, they say that?
Yeah. No, not that
No,
he's
they
gay.
don't say gay, but it's obvious.
He wants to be a dentist, not a toy maker.
I don't know how. I'm so sorry that I got us off on this tangent, but we are going to sit down and watch Rudolph together
Yeah.
this Christmas.
It's
Okay.
a promise.
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
It's gonna be
Back to
let's make it a
Team
Patreon.
Caves.
Let's make it a Patreon only episode.
Okay, sounds
Look,
good.
and then we'll have Patreon content from
Hey,
here.
what is
Yeah.
Patreon?
Not that I
I
have.
don't know. I just got a
struggle
Patreon
with
bill.
Patreon. I'm not gonna lie. So,
I got a Patreon bill a second ago.
but maybe if more people were on our Patreon, I would be more motivated to do stuff with it.
Okay.
Patreon just
The lowest one's $1. Okay.
Then let's just talk about how Bryce and Rune kill their dad.
This
Yeah.
is one of my favorite parts
I like
of the
this
book.
part.
Yes, but first, because this
Go
is
ahead.
like the 5th time we've done this in this book, everyone that they interact with can only be killed by beheading, and yet they stab them through the chest first every single fucking time, and it gives them the chance to fight back.
Well, sometimes it takes more than once to learn a lesson.
I mean, because
Did he fight back?
we stab the Asteri through the heart, and she gets a chance to fight back. He doesn't, because almost immediately they pull the sword out and cut his head off.
Yeah.
Well, I just think it's absurd how these men are like, you guys are like, they are so arrogant. Like, you guys are about to die.
Can we talk about how everybody pops up out of the shadows in this book? There could be 6 people in the room with us right now.
Yes.
Everyone's having a conversation, and like somebody,
They kind of,
the
well, they're
Viper
shadow
Queen-
wielders.
the Viper Queen shows up.
Yeah.
Autumn King shows up. Morven
Yeah.
shows up. Everyone is popping out of the motherfucking shadows every second.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a conversation that isn't interrupted by somebody just appearing out of the woodwork
Yeah.
that no one noticed until
Well,
they
they
started talking.
they are magical in a magical world.
This is magic.
You
This
can do
is-
that a couple of times. That's fine.
You can do it every
But not
time in a
every
Sarah J.
scene.
Maas book.
No.
Every time. Well, no one died in this book either. So,
No.
at all.
No.
But did we well,
Only
we've
the
mentioned
bad guys.
we've mentioned only the bad guys.
I'm like, what are you talking about? We're about to talk about 2 huge deaths.
Yeah.
The Autumn King.
And Morven.
Morven.
But let's just say we did, what did y'all think
No
about
good
Tharian?
guys die.
Tharian just marries Flynn's sister.
Which,
Let
like,
me say this
volunteers
about
tributes.
Flynn's sister. There is a chapter, a deleted chapter from the previous book where she meets Flynn's sister. So Safia that's not the first time we've met her.
Oh.
Yeah. So I was like, I bet they didn't read that chapter.
No.
It was a chapter where Bryce has to go to a dinner party at Flynn's house. So you get a little bit more glimpse of the Fae royalty, and you can just see them sneering and being an asshole to Bryce. So just like kind of exacerbates that whole plot line or detail. Anyway, so Tharian marries her because he wants to save her because he reminds her of her little sister. So that happens. And then they go and kill the Autumn King and Morven.
Yep. Which Deck and Flynn get kidnapped for like 48 hours before anybody notices.
I don't remember that part. That's how nobody did
'Cause
Did the goons take him?
Yeah, because Rune and the
You-
Hind go
Hannah
to
didn't
the
re-
they go to the
Hannah didn't
archive, and
remember
they're
either.
like, man, they didn't even fucking show up today. And then they
I
go the whole next
totally
day.
did not even notice that.
Yeah, I didn't either, and I've read it twice now.
They set their curiosity aside.
Yeah.
Wow, I set my curiosity aside.
Rune is too busy reconnecting with Lydia
Yeah.
Now that she has an acceptable tragic backstory.
right now because she's a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they figure out that the islands used to be there and aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then
I did like Lydia going, what does this have to do with what we're actually here to figure out?
Yes.
So she was asking some questions.
you. For the
they debate
refocus.
they debate for like too long. And then she's like, this does nothing to do with the knife and the blade. So we should probably just get started on doing that. We're not actually going to finish doing that. But we should probably start doing that.
Right. Yeah.
I love her.
And then
I
the
love
whole-
her.
Wait. Do Hunt and Bryce talk to the princes of hell before the 2 kings?
Yes.
Okay, we
Yeah.
should talk about that.
Yes.
First of all, let me just say
They go to
that
hell.
the
That
hell
Hunt's a
the
test tube baby.
The hell, yeah, the 3 okay, so the way she wrote that part was so funny
Yeah.
because this whole time, who is Hunt's dad? Who is Hunt's
Yeah.
dad? I am. Hello, son. Are you my father? I am kind of your father.
Yes.
Hello,
a
son.
Gene?
Hey,
Wait,
boy.
are you my father?
Yes.
Kind of. I'm kind of your father. But also this guy over here, he's your actual dad. And so
Yeah.
it's just so not unclimactic.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, yeah, we're all your dads.
Yeah, we're all your dads.
Yeah. We made you,
You have
for
3
Bryce.
daddies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he does say that the gods fated them together. Romantically.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Romantically speaking.
Romantically speaking, they're
Yeah.
fated by the gods.
Yeah. They're mates.
All the other things, they're scientifically made for each other. Science
Right.
magic. The
Yeah.
magic, The Mayans. The Sagic.
Oh. My brain.
And
Okay,
then
so can we talk
we
about the
just
Hell Hotties?
really don't.
Can we talk about the Hell Hotties?
Hell Hotties.
Why is Apollyon the most attractive character in the book?
Until he doesn't look like a human anymore at the very end.
That's just what Reese looks like in
And
his
to
beast
me,
form.
to me, in my head, they look like Haku from the Samurai Jack. Do you remember Samurai Jack?
I want to look it up.
That's exactly what they look
I
like.
can't wait to see this.
Samurai
Jack.
Jack Haiku.
Haku.
Haku.
Let me see.
Oh, okay. Oh wow. Okay.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
You only knew him by his blue eyes.
So that's not how I pictured him, but
Okay,
yeah, I
that's
can
fine.
see
It
that.
is now.
It is now. Yeah, it is now.
I
Yeah.
derailed you. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just thinking about how hot I thought they were. I
Oh.
was like, these.
I mean, they are, yeah, because he comes out of hell in like a 3-piece suit, like Lucifer from like Tom Ellis
Yeah,
from the Lucifer
he's-
television show.
I'm like, Apollyon. I don't know why, but I just really am finding myself attracted to you.
Yeah.
Because he's the
to
only
me, he
selfless character in the entire book.
Yeah, they are giving a lot. They're
Yeah.
big givers.
They're givers.
They're non-traditional hell.
For hell, they're not very demonic.
No, not at
No,
all.
no.
I mean, they're scary and kind of ugly.
Yeah,
when they're
later.
in their scary form.
Yeah.
He has his mouth. What's that mouth do? My mouth is a black hole.
Yeah.
It's a void.
Yeah, Apollyon's.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's really weird if you think about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a really cool part. I don't know what we really learned from it.
Well, and that's what I was about to
Besides
say.
that, Hunt had
he
my
says
three
a lot,
My 3 dads.
Yeah.
and Hunt has to sum up every few paragraphs. He's like, so basically, this
What
is,
you're saying is
and
I'm
I-
a test tube baby.
and
It's
I
that he
still
can
don't
break
really
the-
know.
The crown of thorns. That's it, basically. Is like
Yeah.
no one they shouldn't be able to hold your power. You're a prince of hell.
Yeah, which
So get
Hunt,
your shit together. And
which-
he's like, maybe later.
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't
think
believe
about
you.
it. He's
I don't
like,
believe
maybe I
you.
can, but like I'm processing right now. Everyone was processing.
Oh, we
So
also
much
we
processing.
also learned what Thea did right before she died.
Split her power up.
She split her power up with the harp.
Yeah.
So in my head canon,
Head cannon.
don't come for me.
Head
It's head canon.
Wrong.
That's fucking wrong. In my head canon, Bryce has to go back to Prithian to get the harp so that she can pass down her light later on in their world.
You just want them to come back together.
I just want her to go back and be like, Nesta, I got you this iPod.
And I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry, Nesta. I think we really had something there, and here's an iPod.
Yeah.
And it will run off of your Fey light magic.
Yeah, because we figured that
Yeah.
shit out now.
Yeah. Randall left his gun there.
Yeah.
So they do have a gun. They can send it on down to Lucian's eyeball maker.
That's true.
And can you guys replicate this firearm?
Yeah.
And we can make some ash bullets, crush some fucking Fey,
That's gonna.
ruin the whole
That's
world.
ruining the world.
Yeah.
That
That will
right there.
change everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you turn them into giant weapons? Here's an atom. We also learned how to split it from them.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's brimstone. It's brimstone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So then we killed Dad. I was literally like raising my fist in the air
Me
when Hunt
too.
killed his dad.
Like finally, we didn't lock him in
Rune.
the closet.
Yeah. I was like, Rune, kill your daddy. And that moment was,
was so
real-
powerful
it
for
was-
me.
Yeah.
But I love Rune.
I cried. I cried.
I cried.
Yeah, I cried.
Rachel, when did you cry?
Rachel
The
winked
entire time.
from how terrible you thought it
In
was.
anger.
Yeah, so
Maybe.
Bryce killed their dad, and Bryce becomes the queen of Avalon, and Brune immediately hands over his title.
Yeah.
So Bryce is in the queen of the Verberin,
The
Arderland.
Yeah.
Arderland,
He's like, I don't want it. You can have it.
Valbaran and Avalon Fae, and the Ardalan Fae, and the Akatar Fae.
Just all the fae.
all the fae.
All the
the
Fae.
Fae.
Yeah, that's kind of where that part ends. Oh, we healed the island.
Yeah.
Thea's power is coincidentally there,
Congratulations.
right where they need it to be.
That was a Moana moment. Did y'all feel that?
Yeah. She
Yeah.
pulls it up and heals the island, and then all of a sudden it's this
And
beautiful...
the entire archive is destroyed, and we don't talk about it.
Isn't the archive a different building?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Pour one out for the
They're
archive.
pouring out.
Pour one out
There
for
were
the
some
archive.
really good books in there.
Well, I don't know. We wouldn't know. They were only in it for like 20 minutes.
She has the library of Parthos and billions of dollars now.
That's
True.
true.
Because you know
She can
Jessica
dig it
left
up.
her
And
all
you
her
know
money.
Ethan wrapped up all of that stuff.
Especially
not
Katona
very
on
well.
her birthing
I don't
hands.
trust Ethan to wrap stuff carefully.
It's so hard to find
No.
a good
There's going to be a McDonald's wrapper in there. Some chewed bubble
Who
gum.
knows what we're gonna find as we unpack these crates?
Yeah.
Notes about how much he hates himself.
God, he's so upset. He's
I wish
so
Jessica would turn me into a worm and step on me.
It would be easier.
Yeah, it would be so much easier.
I really did try and give Ethan some...
I did for the first 2/3 of the book.
And it really... I know it was bad. On the first read-through, when it's all new, it wasn't as bad as on the second read-through when I was skipping.
Yeah. I don't think I'll read his sections again.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
skipping them.
But I really did enjoy him, being made the prime,
Yeah.
even though he still was too stupid to take the sword from the prime. If he would have just taken, the prime's handed it to him, he's like, no, I can't.
He's like, but what about Secret?
I can't. Secret's over there. She's a freaking race or
Secret's
something.
already side with Sabine. She's like getting ready to eat him. He's like, what Secret's there?
Yeah, he really can't get out of his own way, can he?
He just can't get nothing. Sigrid does not want to come back so hard she becomes a reaper, and then she goes and sides with the
Sabine.
astronomer and
Yeah.
Sabine,
I just am mad about that entire thing.
and then Ethan is like, but I still think she's got a shot, y'all.
It is such
One day when Hypaxia gets it right.
And I love how Jessica tells him he's being an idiot. She's like, so you're gonna go over there and
Without a
convince
plan.
them to take a Reaper as the prime? And he's like, yeah, because she's Fender. And he's like, or Fendi or whatever. And he's like, Jessica goes, I mean, that sounds like a thing you could do, but you're already going over there.
I really liked their
I like their
interaction.
She made his character bearable.
Yes.
I really don't think it's a great idea, but
And I liked Ethan in the other books.
Me too.
Yeah.
I really did. It just was, I don't know.
It is not until Sigrid eats the prime soul that he's like, so you're saying there's not a chance? We're done.
Yeah, he really just cannot imagine himself in a position of power.
He's like, well,
he's like,
she's
not a reluctant leader isn't a strong enough term.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. I don't. I can't think of something clever enough.
Because it's literally not until there's no other chance. Sabine gets killed, and then
Last
Sabine
the
shoots her
last-
soul.
last wolf on Earth.
And
Yeah.
then Sigrid kills the astronomer.
And everyone else
then
around
the
it-
prime dies.
And everyone else around him is like, you could do it. And he's like, no,
no,
I can't.
It's
Sigrid. She's been in a tank for 200
It's
years.
the prime going, you are an alpha. Like, here you go. You be our leader. And he's like, no. And then everybody else dies. And they're like, well, the last person the prime talked about was you. So I guess you're the leader now. And he's like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, but
Can I go bring Secret back, though?
it.
Is it hot in here or is it just me? Tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety. Not your average book club, if you know